right, sorry guys. I think I'm live now. I was on top of the hill doing some wiring, and I needed to get that finished. This is Ashley Williams, Legacy Farms Coffee. I am on the farm in Cerro Bueno. I did a quick podcast yesterday just to sort of catch up on a few things, and tonight we'll do a longer one and answer a few questions. A couple people had asked, do we actually have somebody that stays in the house, stuff like that? I do not, but I have somebody that takes care of everything. So Anna takes care of everything while we're gone. I'm going to try to move this a little closer. I was hoping you guys could see the lights. I did take a minute to make me some coffee. I have me some of my favorite Bimbo bread. And I've got a little tripod. I'll try to get it straight. But yeah, I don't think you guys can see the lights behind me. It's really a beautiful view at night. But a lot of people were asking if somebody stayed in the house or who watches the house. We normally have a guard here. Pedro normally guards, but this for the last 2 weeks, Pedro's been living in an area called Llano, and that's where we dry our coffee. We had normally in December, we picked 200, 300 pounds a day. This December, I think it averaged over 5,000 a day for like however many days they picked. I haven't looked at the sheets yet because Anna is actually in her farm picking. But the last of the coffee came off the drying field today. So I went down to Llano. I went down there twice today. Went down, did moistures, and everything was a little bit wet. So then I came back and sort of got everything picked up today, brought back, and put in the bodega. But to answer the question about, how do we stay gone so long and then just come back? I roughly have 2 sets of clothes. I've got a set for the States and a set for here. So when I walk away, I leave socks, T-shirts, underwear. I leave all that stuff, here, and then I have the same stuff in the States. I don't really have any fancy clothes, so it's not a big deal. But oh, okay, here we go.
Hey, finally noticed I was here.
Hi.
Hi, Lucas.
Hi. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah, I think we chatted. What'd you say?
What is your last name? I'm just getting Ferr on the thing.
Ferris.
Ferris. Okay, that's what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
How are you doing tonight?
Good. Yeah. How are you?
Pretty good. Just been a rush. I got here yesterday, and so I started the trip out without my usual routine, and so I've had to depend on people to pick me up at the airport the last 2 trips. Oh. So I'm trying to play catch up. One of the questions I usually start the week out by answering viewer questions and people that have emailed stuff in, and they were asking about what do we who stays at the house and stuff like that. And I was trying to explain how we have a guard that he stays outside. And, Anna comes in, and it was obvious when I came through the door yesterday, things had been straightened up and all the dishes were washed, things like that. So Anna takes care of things while I'm gone. But normally when we come in, I fly into the airport and I keep my car. I rent a little spot about 15 minutes from probably 5 minutes from the airport. You could walk if you had to. But I take a taxi over there, get my car. Then my regular routine is I go and hey, Bill, how you doing, man? I go to the grocery store and just load up on grocery store, food stuff. And then like your chicken breasts, hamburger meat, milk, ice cream, the staples. And then I go by the pizza place and pick up a couple pizzas. And then it's about an hour and 15-minute drive to the farm. So then I come out here, and my first day is usually, plane lands at 12:30. You're lucky if you get out of the airport by 1:30. And then I shoot for 4:30, being in the house, and I just sort of organize stuff. I sort of, a lot of times I just walk away. I just leave stuff laying on the counter, and when I come back, it's still sitting there. So it's just like you might go away for the weekend. I'll leave for 2 months or a month, something like that. But this week I was out of, like yesterday when I got home, the guy didn't have time to take me to go grocery shopping. So he just took me straight home. And the Toyota wouldn't start, and both batteries were dead on the Dodge. So I was sort of stranded here last night. And so I spent the night pulling batteries and cleaning post and charging everything. And then today I had to go to town and buy 2 new batteries, and I did a little bit of grocery shopping. But the grocery store near the airport is really nice. Really good hamburger meat and like good cheeses, stuff like that. And so when I go into the little town here, hamburger meat's a little more sketchy. Definitely going to be a lot more gristle and fat in it. But so yeah, just sort of getting my bearings. And then we went out, we rent a farm. There's a microclimate about 8 miles from here. So literally when I left the house, I had my red jacket, I had an insulated underwear shirt, and I had a long sleeve shirt on. And 15 minutes after we got there, I was stripped down into a t-shirt. It's that big a difference. It was 45 degrees difference there than here. It's only 8 miles away. And so that's where Pedro is. We rent that farm, and Pedro lives there for about the 2 months during harvest, and he dries the coffee for us there. And then he'll find some people in the neighborhood that'll come help him rake coffee during the day and then help him put it up at night. Right now, there's, it's sort of the dew is setting, so you wouldn't want the coffee out tonight. So it all gets wrapped up under plastic for the night. So it's a big undertaking when there's, 15, 20, literally 30,000 pounds of coffee out there.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot for him to do, but he enjoys sleeping. There's a little house he can stay in, but he brings a hammock. He said he'd rather stay in the hammock. So that's what he does.
Yeah,
but no, Bill, they have in the big towns, they have really good hamburger meat, just the same quality hamburger you'd get in the States. It tastes the same and all that. But the stuff I get in Marcala definitely has a different taste to it. But now, Lucas, you said we had talked, like talk or PM talk.
Yeah, it was over Instagram, and
Okay.
I think you texted me or DM'd saying like, let's just like chat about coffee.
Okay. Now, are you thinking about opening up? Are you in California?
Yeah, California.
Okay,
So,
you were thinking about opening up a coffee place.
yeah, it actually, since I talked to you, it's gotten like a lot more finalized. I actually bought a trailer.
Cool.
And I'm getting it started, so it'll be really fun. But yeah, it's been a lot. I got an espresso machine and stuff because I was originally using like pressurized, so I finally got like whole setup. It was a lot, but it's been about a year of thinking, just looking at stuff, and yeah. I think you guys follow Cafecito Coffee, or like in Coronado, and
Oh yeah.
they
buy
were
a lot.
talking.
Yeah, they buy a lot of coffee from us, and they're really growing. If it's any indication how much they're buying from us, how much they're growing, because I don't think they just sell our coffee, so they're buying quite a bit from us. So if they're buying from other people too, then yeah, they're really growing how much they're buying.
Yeah, because I was talking to her over Instagram, and I remember she tagged me, and she has like her stories where she'll drink like coffee and she'll say like, oh, here are the people that are starting something or maybe like coming up with ideas. And I was tagged on one and I like didn't know. So she started talking to me and I asked like where would be the best spot to like be getting coffee and everything. And she brought up you guys. And then I don't know how it worked, but like you texted me or like yeah. Yeah. One machine turns into two and then a farm with a coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just funny. It was kind of like everything kind of worked out. And I was working on like just infrastructure and I was on Google Sheets looking up stuff and like doing the math. And I remember she tagged me and then you guys talked to me or she like referenced you guys. And I remember I was like, okay, everything's like working. And then it just when it was like a chain reaction and everything started working, and I got this trailer and we welded it together, got it all fixed up. There's like refrigerators and everything. I was like, everything is working perfectly. It was so weird. So I was like, I should hop on the podcast and just talk coffee. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'll put you in touch. Now you're still in the process of building the trailer.
Trailer's done. I'm doing the outlets right now. It's like an open one, so there's no like indoor, like it's just the refrigerator. It's like FDA approved, but it's like all outdoor. It's for like mainly venues and then also like farmers markets or something. But it's
Okay.
pretty cool. Yeah. I just have to do the outlets and then I have to get my licensing and then yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's on my contacts list, like on Facebook. There's a guy called it's Third Day Coffee Seguin.
Mm.
He's doing a build out in an ambulance. So if you've got any electrical questions and stuff, I'll put you in touch with Jose. And he's
Yeah.
actually flown out to the farm. They're coming out again this summer. Oh, in the other screen, Lucas, I don't know if it's above you or whatever. That's my son, Eli. Eli's my marketing guy. He's my all around everything guy. We
Nice.
spar, we hang out, we do all kinds of stuff. Uh, he's at the roastery right now. Are you in the roastery?
Yeah.
That's what happens. You're old. You don't have glasses. Yeah, I thought you were in the roastery. He's in our roastery in Kansas, and he's getting ready in about 10 or 12 days. He's going to fly out here, and so he'll be with me out here till late March
Awesome.
for the harvest.
Yeah.
I've been so overloaded with Spanish today. I'm getting some of my words confused. But yeah, they call it cosecha here. So but normally I don't know if you heard the part when I was talking about normally we do a pre-picking of 200 or 300 pounds a day. And it usually ends around Christmas. And this year we've already picked almost 30,000 pounds. Now, some of
Dang.
that we had to sell because the weather was so bad. We sold it to the mill. A friend of mine owns a mill about 10 miles from here, but we don't like doing that. But sometimes you just have to. So tomorrow we're going to start weighing bags. My manager will be here tomorrow. She's been off this week picking coffee in her farm. And that's another option if you want to think about, of course, I want to sell my coffee to you, but if you want to monopolize on like a true single origin, Anna grows about 15 bags of coffee a year, which is 15 bags is 2,250 pounds. That roasts down to like 1,800 something pounds of coffee.
So
That's
that's
what
a
her
lot.
entire farm. Yeah, you'll go through that pretty quick. But that'd be something good for you to think about marketing.
Mhm.
Is you could really use her and her family in a lot of marketing.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we do. There was a Chinese, I don't know if you call it a proverb or what. It says you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, and you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Well, one of the things we do here, we try to help people buy land. We have a bank, and then we get them set up with good plants that we grow. We have a big nursery, and most years we have anywhere from 5 to 15,000 plants. And what we
Dang.
don't use, we give away. And so Anna's farm over the years, we financed and given her fertilizer and plants, and so now her farm's in full production. So now she has coffee. We got to find her a buyer. And so we've got a couple guys that sell her coffee, but nobody that's really using her in the marketing. And I
Yeah.
think, a woman-owned farm will be,
That's
would be a
incredible.
big selling point. And especially out in California, they're a lot more in tune to those things
Mhm.
than, like New York or something would be.
Totally.
But Anna has good coffee too. This last time we planted a variety called Perinema in her farm. So she's got a couple different varieties, and I don't know how much you've looked into like the specialty grading of coffee, but her coffee usually runs around 85, an 85 point coffee.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I'm not like super familiar with that type of stuff. I know like elevation and how that changes like the flavors and stuff, but I
yeah,
haven't really looked into that. I know that's something I probably should be looking into, especially like starting off like this. But I think like what you were saying with she needs to be marketed as well, like not just taking her stuff and using it. But I was kind of struggling with that anyways, because I was not that, I just want to use her for my own benefit, but like just the like the marketing stuff, because I was watching a bunch of playlists and they were basically saying that you want the infrastructure of Starbucks, but you want something different that makes, the quality, but you also want to look different than Starbucks, but you want their infrastructure because you want to follow what the money is doing. Right. So I was like, yeah, I need that. And I'm like, okay, my thing's I'm 14 and I'm starting a coffee business. That's insane. Right. But I'm only going to be able to ride that train for so long. And when I'm 25, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So it's like, number one, coming up with like more quality. I'm assuming I'll have better quality when I'm like 25, but just those types of things. So I'd love to help her too. Just like that, the combo would be really nice.
Yeah. I mean, anytime, I struggled at first with how many pictures I'm going to put on of cute little kids and, things like that from the farm. And I got beat up quite a bit when I first started because people were beating me up about the kids picking coffee. And I'm like, you're not in the United States. These kids, if they want to stay in school, most of the kids that pick coffee here, it's because there's no daycare. And these kids have a blast in our farm because they got places to run, play, hide, jump in the river, eat coffee. They're out there having a good time. But the kids that are a little bit older, 12, 13, 14, they're getting ready to go make that jump into high school, and high school is expensive. But all of Pedro's kids give him half the money that they make and to buy their school supplies because they want to graduate high school. So finally, and not to be too graphic, I finally just sort of took the kiss my butt approach. If you want to complain about how I'm doing it, you need to come out here. And then, and I've told one lady, I said, you come out here, and if you don't change your mind while you're out here, I'll reimburse you for your travel expenses. Yeah. I said, you don't realize there's no daycare. One older kid will stay behind in the house while the rest of the family's here picking.
And it's like, you're making the assumption.
Well, because they don't want somebody to break in the house. So one kid, 12, 13, 14 years old, is going to stay in the house so nobody breaks in.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying her making the assumption that the conditions are like this. It's like, you don't even understand. That's what I mean. I think I understand what you're saying, but it's just like, you don't understand the living conditions of that area, like, unless you experience it firsthand, like you guys do. So I don't know. Yeah. It's funny.
And that family dynamic is so different than it is in the States. And I mean, the whole family comes out here. I tell you what, I think it's on my Instagram account, and I don't know if you speak Spanish or not, but you don't have to really get the gist of it. But Pedro came in one day and he was sitting out there and everybody else had gone into the farm. And what'd you say, Eli?
That was a good podcast.
Yeah. Pedro came in, he was sitting on the farm and he had been working another area. He came down here and it's like, where's everybody at? And I said, they're down by the organic bodega. And he said, okay. And I said, but I tell you what, the eggs are in here. And so I was scrambling eggs. So I said, come on in, let's have breakfast. And so he came in. And so I popped out my camera and we just did a little podcast. And I was talking to him about, he's got 5 boys. And he said, well, some of my boys are out in the farm working today. And I said, well, how many? He said, well, right now, 3 of them are working for you. And he said, one of them was doing something else. He said, but 3 of them work, pretty much all the time. And I said, well, how old are they? He said, well, there's one that's 9. He's doing something else. And the very next thing out of his mouth was the 9-year-old can pick 50 pounds of coffee a day. Holy and smokes. So, that was the first thing. If I were to describe my son Eli to you, I'm going to say, well, this is Eli. He's 13. He takes Taekwondo. He takes Hapkido. He does great in school. But never would it pop into my mind to tell you how fast he could mow the yard.
He could lift 50 pounds of
his
labor.
And so Pedro was like, and I was translating. So if you'll watch it, I'll translate everything I ask him. But when he told me that about 50 pounds, and I said, well, what about he said his other son was 18. I said, what about the 18-year-old? And he said, he can pick 250 pounds a day. And I said, man. And Pedro's a little guy. And I said, well, what about you? And he just smiled and said, I can pick 300. And I
Dang.
thought, there you go, man. And so uh, it's just a different dynamic. He's so proud of how hard his kids can work, you know. And
Yeah.
he's like, and it's a good red picking. And so meaning that he's just picking the red coffee. And a lot of the kids, we have to really inspect their bags because they'll pick a lot of green. And that ruins the flavor of the coffee. And we have to pick all that out. It takes us a lot of time. So, we inspect the bags to make sure that, everybody's picking what they're supposed to be picking.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it's definitely different, and if you don't like the job you're doing in the United States, you just sort of look around for another job. But if you don't like picking coffee in my farm, your other option is go pick coffee in
Farm
I forgot
A,
what
farm B, farm C.
the farm here, or you go to the farm here, or you go to the farm there,
Yeah.
and I am particular and picky and sometimes hard to get along with, but I pay more. And so that's the long and the short of it with a lot of them. There's probably a lot of people that don't even like me, like Eli can attest to this. It's taken me 2 years to get Anna's husband to where he'll even come out here, and they
Well,
said, well,
somewhere else.
and now, he's gotten to know me a little better, but, well, Bill was repeating what I said about, teaching a man to fish. But in that context, you teach a man to fish, but you also need to give him a fishing rod. You need to help him get tackle. You need to tell him where he's going to buy his fishing license so he doesn't get a ticket. We helped a guy named Bahidio start a barbershop. So we got him chair, all the cut, trimmers and scissors, and the women in the sewing program made him the apron with Velcro on it, and got him brushes. We went and bought him a giant mirror. We made him a sign, all those things. And he starts cutting hair, and guess who shows up? Health department. We never even thought about getting a license, and so we taught him to fish all right, but we didn't. That's all we did, So we try to slow down a little bit and learn the culture a little bit, and not just come up with ideas and, hey, let's do this. Let's ask people around here what the community needs and stuff like that. But one of the things I did learn that the people aren't getting anything for their coffee, even though they have a little farm, they're not getting anything for it. Yeah, if they can manage their money well enough that they can pay cash for their fertilizer, but if not, they get charged 3 to 4% a month interest from the fertilizer store. And I know this to be true because I didn't pay my bill one month and they tacked on 3% interest. And I asked her about it, and she said, "Well, you're friends, so we only charge you 3%. Everybody else pays 4%. That's 48% a year interest. That guy's never going to get ahead." So we came up with a program to buy bulk fertilizer, and we sell it to these guys at our cost, let them pay it off by the week, no interest. And it doesn't affect our well-being doing that. I'm not some great savior for helping somebody do that. It's very little effort for us to to buy a little bit of fertilizer and let these guys pay it off. Their farms, most of them just need 3 or 4 bags of fertilizer, but it's a huge help to them, and it makes a difference how much production they have and things like that. But no, don't hesitate. People like the Coronados, don't hesitate to send them questions because they're actually in your state. I think, are they in Florida or are they in California?
I think it's Yucaipa, California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew
they're like 20. Yeah, they're like 20 or 30 miles away from me.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure where they are in the coffee thing right now. If they've got a trailer, or if I think maybe they're just doing farmers markets.
I know their tag is like My Home Coffee.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's like more of like a home thing, or maybe they're like rebranding or like that type of stuff, or like cups. That's what I was thinking. I was asking all these shops about like tips and like what I can do, and none of them are like I mean, I know like, you have your business stuff and like things that you worked out for like years that you want to keep like private because that's like what your business thrives off of. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple stuff like buying bulk coffee. I asked just the most simple thing. I'm like, hey, like, where do I get this stuff? And they act like it's the bane of my existence. I'm like, I'm asking for the bulk coffee. I'm going to figure out the answers anyways. Like, you
Yeah.
holding it from me isn't going to do anything. So when I talked to Coronado Coffee and all these smaller coffee shops that were helping me out, they made it so easy. But like these other ones, they act like I'm like they don't want to give the information because it's like, oh, it'll ruin our like product. It's like you live in South Africa. You have
Yeah.
a coffee shop in South Africa. Like, what is it going to do to your business? So I was like, can I please? I'm like, I'm 14. I'm not going to have the same like quality as you anyways. It's not going to affect your business for like really anything, but they wouldn't give me any answer. So when Coronado and all these smaller ones helped me, I was like, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I had the same experience. Here, you can't ask any questions. They'll tell you the wrong thing just to mess you up. It took us a long time to just export coffee because we only had a little bit of coffee. The first year we decided to export, we had 88 bags of coffee. A container will hold 300 if you stack it right. My
Dang.
first year, I shipped a full a container all by myself with 88 bags in it because none of the other farmers would let my coffee ride with them. Olam, Royal, all those big companies, none of them would help us, get our coffee to the States.
How many
And
bags
so
do we have? How many bags do we have in the container this year?
I think it was 214 this year. And so, we're still not filling the container, but with our new fertilizing plan, we should fill the container between my coffee and my workers. We should fill a container next year. That's the goal. But literally the last 2 times I've been to the farm, I've spent very little time walking around in the farm. So tomorrow I've got 3 hours scheduled just to go out and walk the farm. There's 10 different lots, and I'll try to go walk all those 10 lots tomorrow. Just a little bit of them. But no, you got people like Coronados that'll help you, and they're a good person because they're so close to you. So the things that they're going through are going to be similar to things you're going through. And like Bill, I don't know if you guys can see Bill's comments, but Bill is getting started, and he's been doing a fresh roast, coffee roaster, and now he's buying a little more bulk coffee and roasted it himself. And so it's not apples to apples for you because you're doing a coffee shop and he's roasting. But still, you know what? I couldn't get any help here. And so when I started asking questions in the States about importing and stuff, got very little help. I just sort of had to figure a lot of it out for myself. And when I started roasting, I got on that big coffee roasters forum. There's 20-something thousand roasters on that thing. And I've never been talked down to so much in my life, and nobody would answer any questions, just like what you're talking about. They're not going to give me any big profiles to go by or anything like that. So we just figured stuff out on our own. And every year I try to buy at least a half a dozen different coffees so that I'm not just roasting Honduran coffee, trying some different things. Oh, it looks like Bill might have just bought him a 5-pound roaster. So that's going to be a big step. But there's things like there's like mobile, there's a lot of Facebook pages that you can get on that are like mobile coffee shops and stuff like that, that even if you don't get a lot of information directly from them, you just follow them and watch, and you can pick up a few things. But the Coronados are very giving with their information. And Jose, I can introduce you to Jose at Third Day Seguin Coffee. He's in Texas, but he'd be willing to help you. But any questions you got, just shoot them to me. If I don't know, I might know who to ask. But getting a good grinder, and I watch the used coffee equipment. I've never bought anything from that Facebook page, but it's Used Coffee Equipment USA. I haven't bought anything from them just because usually shipping is the big issue. But it helps you keep in tune with what the prices are. And so when I see a Bunn GH2 grinder, then I sort of know what it is and I know what the price should be. And I know worst case scenario, if I get it and the motors burn up, you're only looking at $115. If it needs
Yeah.
burrs, you might be looking at 200 to get a really nice set of burrs. And
I'm
so it'll
even
help you start. You may not want to buy everything brand new every time. And I don't. I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
that we have anything brand new in our shop.
Yeah, my like the trailer, we built it to be FDA approved. So my grandpa built it for Christmas. Because he told me to like show basically a business plan. So I wrote like a 10-page business plan and did a Google Sheets thing recently over like my expenditure, and I'm making my own syrups and stuff too. And
Cool.
he built the whole thing. He got like like 2 cafeteria fridges from a school, and this guy puts them on trailers. So he did that, and then I have a sink on there too. So it's like it was awesome. I was not expecting it at all. So all I have to do is plug it in, and then it'll work. But it's really awesome. It even has like a gray tank, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, recycling stuff is the best way to go. I mean, especially in America, everybody's so consumerist that it's like they don't value anything. They just let it go to waste, and then they buy a new thing. And it's like you can take care of it. Like if it's a quality item, take care of it and it will last you for 20 years. I don't know. So I agree. I think it's better to just buy stuff used, or even like just find like returns or something. I did that on Amazon, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I think, can you tilt your camera to show the grinders, Eli? Like most of the stuff, like there's
yeah.
7 grinders right there, and for a roastery, we tend to need a lot of grinders.
Yeah.
And so, but all of those I traded coffee for at different times.
Yeah. I like the copper one.
Oh yeah. That's
that's a really good grinder.
Yeah. The copper one and to the right of that, the black one, those are called EK43s. That has been my dream grinder for 10 years. I mean, it's one of the more expensive grinders. But I've always been looking for that. And I was in a shop one day and I'd bought grinders from him before. And the guy's like, well, we got one, but it was so loud. Bob didn't like it. And I said, well, let me see it. And when he pulled the tarp off of it, I'm like, oh, literally, I was like, oh, because that's
You're
the grinder I've been wanting. But
like,
there's
you
no
sure
way.
You don't want that? Because I'll take it.
And he said, well, there's 2 of them, but I don't know where the other one is. And he priced that thing so cheap. He said, but it may not work. And I was like, you know what?
I can make it work.
I'm gonna buy it. And so I bought the thing. He got it home. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. And so then eventually they found the black one, and that was the mate to it. It's just a different color. And so I bought that one too. And so, but they're all named after Star Wars characters. And so there's Luke, Leia, Kylo Ren.
The copper one, C3PO.
You were right, my man.
Actually? Oh my God. Yeah. So like, I don't know if you guys can see this in the camera. Ow. So that's the trailer right there.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. And then here's the back. So it has 2 fridges and then 1 sink, right? And that the entire like counter space, those go for like a couple grand. They're like as much as a car for one of those like systems with the cooling unit and everything. And my grandpa got it. Like, guess how much he got it for?
No telling.
$50.
Really?
Yeah. And the guy has like 12 of them. And he said if he bought them all, he'd give them to him for $200. I was like, but my grandpa was like, I don't have enough space on my trailer. But I was like, so he bought a second one. So I still have a second one. So if things go well with the first cart, I'm gonna try and get another one going up.
Well, I tell you that Binga, Leia. Binga. See. You can pick up so much stuff like that. I tell Eli, you just got to have some cash in your pocket, because that's what's going to seal the deal a lot of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave $100 for C3PO. Brand new, it's $3,500.
Dang, that's more than my espresso machine.
Oh, and do you have a single group or a 2 group?
Oh, as in like one spout? Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Like,
Yeah, one spout. Yeah.
okay. Is it,
I Oh, wait, continue. Sorry.
no, just, you need to start working with it as soon as you can and get your
Yeah.
timing down really well. So
I've been,
where,
yeah.
because you're gonna be overloaded. That's a lot. I've got a single group in the shop where Eli is,
Mhm.
and when we have friends over, it's if I need to do 5 or 6 in a row, you're fairly occupied with that.
Yeah.
It won't be long before you'll go to a 2 group or maybe even a 3.
Yeah, it's whatever I can afford right now. That's kind of my
Yeah,
issue. So I have my 2 espresso machines, so I'm just gonna run 2 spouts, but like separate machines. I
yeah,
also because they're cheaper machine. It's the one's the Breville Express, and the
yeah.
other is the Bambino. So I'm gonna use 2 and off switch so that they're not like stressed out because I can't afford a Rocket espresso machine right now. So
Yeah, and even the Rocket is not a commercial machine.
yeah, but it can it's better
Yeah,
withstanding than the Breville
but
Express.
I've heard
Yeah.
really good reviews on the Bambino.
Yeah, the Bambino, like I saw it on Jacob Hoffman, I think, or Jack Hoffman or something. He's on YouTube, and I saw that thing. I was like, "Oh, we need one of those." And then
Yeah, I've
word
tried to
got.
send. Yeah, I've watched some of his videos. I've tried to send him coffee, but he said he's not doing that right now. I
Yeah.
wanted to get him to do some of my coffee, but no. When you're ready to start playing with coffees, I'll shoot you a box of coffee and get you some stuff. Are you drinking coffee?
Oh yeah, I
Okay,
I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah.
but just drinking it black.
I like. Well, I tried like a 3 shot today, Americano. I made one
Yeah,
of those,
yeah.
and then but my favorite, like my go-to, is a cappuccino. 2-shot cappuccino.
Well, with a cappuccino, it doesn't really matter what the coffee is,
Yeah.
because you're going to cover it up. So
Like with
that's going to, there's no sense in buying an 87 point coffee and
mhm,
paying, expensive price for it. And then
yeah.
as soon as you put cream and sugar in it or any kind of flavoring, you've covered up all the flavors. So then
Yeah.
for your espresso, you're going to want to buy either a Robusta, which has a lot of caffeine in it, or you're
Mhm.
going to buy some kind of a Brazilian coffee that you can get at a really good price. You know, economically speaking, profit wise, that's what you're going to have to do. Uh, because for that same cup of coffee, you're going to be adding a lot more expense because you're going to put flavorings and stuff like that on it. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's no like I got a rejection letter from Starbucks, and it says we don't buy specialty coffee.
Yeah. I mean, they're so like their cappuccinos I know and their mochas and anything like you're saying with like sweetener in it, except for lattes, they use regular black brewed coffee, which is why I was gonna get one of those big heater ones just for anything that's like I'm covering up like you're saying with sweetness.
Yeah,
But like at home use, I just make it with my own espresso, like beans, because I think I still think there's a difference in taste, but like commercially, I would definitely think that I'm just using like a big like 100 gallon or I mean a 100 cup like boiler pot for those
right.
types of things, and then the espresso and americano, and then maybe a latte. I would do with like with premium espresso because I definitely think that the way Starbucks does stuff. Like, I mean, it's just so burnt and bitter and stuff. It's like they can cover it up with the sweetness.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I would say, yeah, definitely an Americano really brings out that flavor, and
Mhm.
then the espressos are going to do it some, but espresso is a lot more acidic. But if you do just straight pour over stuff like that, then you really have to worry about the quality of your coffee, because that's really going to come out. But one thing I would suggest is you start getting Walmart has got some spoons and they're like 50 cents each, but they're very similar to your $12 and $15 cupping spoons.
Mhm.
Uh, and then get you and also Walmart has some little bowls and they're in the kitchen area and they're clean. I mean, they're white, but, and some of them are clear, but they hold about 200 milliliters or 200 milligrams of water. So it's a real small bowl. And so you need to look up how to cup coffee. So you're going to need a spoon, a certain type of spoon, and you're going to need a small bowl that holds about 200 milligrams of water. Because what you're going to do is you're going to grind your coffee normally, and this is the cupping process. When that coffee's ground and in that bowl, you're going to swirl it around a little bit and smell it, and then you're going to make notes on any smells that you perceive, and then as quick and hard as you can, you're going to pour in 200 milligrams. I can't get that right. Milligrams of water in there, and then stop, and then you're going to let that coffee. It'll bloom. So it'll rise up just a little bit, and it'll have a crust on the top. And then again, you're going to smell that coffee and try to see if you perceive some different, any kind of smell. Try to describe it, write it down. And then you're going to get your nose as close as you can to that coffee. You're going to gently drop that spoon in it and swirl it and break that crust. And all of a sudden, a lot of aromas are going to come out. And then you're going to get 2 spoons, overlap them, and you're going to start pulling all of that goop off the top of that little bowl. You're going to pull all of that out, and then you're going to dip your spoon in there, and you're going to aerate that coffee across your tongue, because the back parts of your palate are going to perceive sours and bitters, sweets, and so the different parts of your tongue perceive different flavors. So you want to completely coat your tongue all at the same time, and then again you're going to write down all the flavors that you perceive. And so, because if you're buying coffee from somebody like me and I give you my cupping notes and I say it's going to be grapefruit and mango, you need to sort of know if you're getting screwed over, and if you're going to be paying money for specialty grade coffee, it's really something that, I would suggest that you try to do a little bit, and then you'll know a lot more, what you're talking about. Being in a trailer at an event, you're going to have very little time to talk to people, but you're also going to start doing private events where people are going to, know coffee a little bit better. And that's when, having a higher end coffee is really going to pay off. And then you're going to be selling coffee by the bag, I would imagine, at a lot of your events, Yeah, I would, I'd definitely have, and we do a white label where, you buy coffee from us and it comes with your logo or and your sticker or however you want to do it on the bag.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Cause I was looking at that, and then also like the eco-friendly cups or whatever. And another brand does the logo stuff. That's so smart. Like it helps so much. I'm like, dude, I cannot find anybody who will print up a logo for me. So I bought like a laminating and one of the sticker things, because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do that for cups and stuff, because I was gonna sell like little cups and all of that. And I was like, so that's really nice, the white label.
Hey Eli, can you look? Should be almost directly ahead of you. It's to the right of where the water is. It's above the refrigerator. Are there any of our cups there?
Mm-hmm.
There's a place called Superior Rubber Stamp in Wichita, Kansas. And for $35, they made me a 3-inch or 3.5-inch rubber stamp. And I just stamp my cups with that.
Oh, that's actually, that's a good idea. Okay. And then I even have my other grandpa, he does automation. So I could get one, he has a machine that repeats it. I could even do that, make a rotor and stuff and do repeating stamps. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you say?
I'm gonna head out. Thanks for.
Oh, okay.
I'm heading out. Thanks guys for talking. Nice to meet you, Luke.
Yeah. Nice hey, love you, buddy. Good night. Oh. When he's gone, he's gone.
He's gone. Just like my brother.
No, he sort of hated he didn't get to come early with me. He's we homeschool, so he's gonna have the mom wanted him to stay there and get caught up on his schoolwork, because once we get here, well, during the day when they're doing homeschool in the house, I mean, our house is just 100 feet from the drying patio. They set an alarm for every 20 minutes. And when the alarm goes off, they all run out to the patio, rake the coffee, come back in, set the alarm for 20 minutes. So school is just a nightmare for my wife, if they're having to run the patio. And then we got 2 drying houses. So if we got coffee in that, it's just it's hard to homeschool. So he had to stay back and get caught up on his schooling before he comes here. But he's flying in on the 16th, and then he'll be here with me until March the 12th is when the ticket is. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna push that back because we're wanting to run over to Guatemala. I say run over. We're wanting to drive to Guatemala and go see the Copan ruins, the Mayan ruins in Copan.
My cousin saw those. Those were awesome.
We tried going one time and it was raining so bad that we were on a road. I could barely keep the truck on the road. And so I said, guys, if you guys will let me turn around and go back, I said, we'll go home, and then tomorrow we'll go to Taylor's and get a good hotel with a swimming pool. And so they agreed to that. And so that's what we did. So we didn't get to go to Copan.
Yeah.
But the guy that taught my barista class, I went to, he's got a place at the Copan ruins. He's got a coffee shop. It's called Cafe Loco. And so we're wanting to go up and visit him and do a podcast from there. And the podcasts aren't taking off super, but we're still getting a couple hundred views after it hits YouTube and stuff like that. So they're definitely picking up quite a bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I understand the pain because I used to do YouTube and like graphic design and stuff and keyboards and all that. So I totally understand. So.
Well, I mean, at 14, and I'm not saying this, I mean, you're definitely going to be a novelty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely want people to know how old you are and, know your story, because that is a huge, huge selling point. Yeah. I think that's definitely going to be a marketing thing, because when you said 14, I was like, what? But no, it's going to be, because you can't even drive the trailer yet,
Yeah.
So I've got a couple customers and they're women and they can't drive the trailer because they don't know how to drive a trailer, but no, I mean, that's definitely going to be a pretty cool thing, 14 and owning your own business, man.
Yeah. I technically 15 in like 25 days, but I was planning on this since like June, and I was, but 15 still. Yeah. I'm going to be getting my permit June 7th of this year. So it'd be pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
I'm pretty excited. It's pretty cool. And I also like you're saying, like that's a big selling point, because my friend Derek, he owns like a Korean barbecue place, and he's like 23, and he said just ride that train as long as you can, and then he's like, and then when you have the money, he's like, switch over to your quality and like all of that. So I was like, if I can go like the organic route and like the eco-friendly route, and then also like on top of that 14, I was like, that'd probably be my selling point. Also, just because it's like my values that I like. I don't know, that type of stuff.
Well, we're working on a new mission statement that's more focused on direct trade, sustainable farming, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was invited to go to there's a thing called Coffee Con. I think they have it in New York and Chicago. I was invited to speak on sustainable farming at in Chicago. So Eli and I actually went down there for 3 or 4 days, and the event was 2 days. And so we spoke on sustainable farming and stuff like that. I definitely think that's a very marketable thing. I don't put much stock in organic, just because the organic that people expect in California are very different than the organic that actually happens in these foreign countries.
Oh yeah.
Because when you say organic in Kansas, where I'm at, or California, where you're at, people think that means no chemicals, no fertilizers, and it doesn't. They allow you to fertilize.
Yeah.
They'll allow you to spray certain parts of your farm with pesticide.
Like with my mom's farm stand, it's like, because we have a little farmer's market and stuff, and people don't understand that whole thing, and like composting, even still the stuff that's in your compost that you're putting in there, like paper towels, paper, that type of stuff, still has chemical processes. So it's like, but it's the closest that I want to get. And it really depends on like because I know the FDA approval. It's like 10 feet within spraying for organic stuff, anyways. So it's like it's not going to change unless you're growing it yourself. But I definitely like being as close to my values as possible, because I know we live in a society where it doesn't really matter anymore. But like, I want to try as hard as I can to try and make it. I don't know. I feel like just trying to aim for that. But I mean, I would rather trust somebody like you who like I've actually spoken to, rather than like Juan Juarez or whatever coffee blend. So
yeah. Well, and one thing, and of course, you being 14 makes it a little different. But one thing that we've been, a few of our customers have actually flown out to the farm, and just seen it and met the people. When Jose wanted to really get into coffee, and he's a great guy for you to know. He's a good Christian guy. He's a family-oriented guy. When he decided to get into coffee, he said, I think I need to come out there. And I said, man, let's do it. And so he and his wife came out here and spent a week. And actually, it was a perfect time because we just had coffee that was mature enough in my nursery that could be planted. So he actually hired some of my guys to go out to Santos's farm. And so he buys all of Santos's coffee every year, no matter how much he produces. And then he roasts it and sells it. And so he actually went out to Santos's farm and was actually able to plant the coffee, so it's definitely a, experience, but it's, you actually get to meet the people that are picking the coffee. And if you come out during harvest, I mean, you get to pick coffee.
Yeah.
And so, it's definitely an option, if you ever wanted to do something like that. Obviously you'd have to bring a parent with you or something, but, you'd definitely be welcome to do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Cat's trying to eat determined to get my cinnamon roll. He couldn't fly out to the farm, but he eventually did. So he was in California, so he just said, well, I'm gonna drive out to your place and pick up my green coffee. And so he just drove from California to Kansas and to visit the roastery. And then he ended up flying out here and coming to visit the farm. So but he's definitely a guy that would not help you. I can promise you that. He's definitely money minded, but because he's not buying my coffee now. He actually is buying my friend Herbert's coffee, and there's 15 cents difference per pound.
Oh my gosh.
And he dropped me and started buying from Herbert for 15 cents. That's why I wouldn't recommend calling him. But there's a lot of people in this industry that'll help you. And, I don't know about the laws on how many 14 and 15-year-old kids you can hire to work with you, that'd definitely be something too.
My biggest thing is I know for working permits in California, you have to be 12. So my thing is, as it goes for me, I'm just going to be an employer under my own LLC or not LLC. I forget what it's called. Anyways, it's basically a step under. Yeah.
Well, S Corp is a step over LLC. Sole proprietorship would be under LLC. Yeah.
Sole proprietor. Yeah. So I was just going to be an employer under that and then basically be my own manager, all of that. But it's very interesting. I go to Rancho Christian. It's a Christian school, and we have like 40% of our students are transfer. So I was like, if I could get them in, because they're all looking for jobs and stuff, and you can legally hire somebody if they're American visa, but they're not green carded yet, if you get a referral for it. So I was like, if I could refer somebody, then I have like my friends that I trust, that I know, that can work, and like, they can help me out, and I can actually trust them instead of like employing somebody who might drink like my extra, or like the coffee or something. So I'm like, yeah, that's what I would really like. But as far as it goes for now, I'm just going to try and work on like floor plans and how fast I can do stuff. And then once I'm done with my budgeting right now, because I'm working on my like charting, then I'll see if I can afford employees, which I know I'm probably not going to be able to afford employees at the moment, but I'm like, anything that I can give that's not actual monetary value towards them to try and help, like incentivize the fact that I'm not paying them as much. So that type of stuff. But that's why I appreciate like my friends helping me, and they're also like pretty good. It would just be like small training classes with them compared to somebody who like has no idea. So that's kind of like one of the issues. I'm like, I don't know. I'm at this awkward point where I feel like I know the answer, but I can't get to it.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see who all is online or not, but Kerry Sanders just jumped on. Hey, Kerry, how you doing, brother? Kerry just made that leap a year or two ago to a coffee trailer. And so he used to roast coffee, and now he's got an event trailer and all. And Kerry, this is Lucas. He is 14 years old, and he just started. He just got him a trailer built, and so his granddad built the trailer for him, and he's going to start up a mobile coffee business. Kerry is over in Tennessee. Kerry was actually one of my very first customers back a couple of years ago.
That's awesome.
And so I actually delivered him. I think he bought like 20 or 40 or 50 pounds of coffee, and I drove all the way to Murfreesboro and delivered it, and just so I could get to meet him and stuff. But
awesome.
Yeah, Kerry started out with like a $300 roaster, like I think a Bmore 1600 or something. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but Kerry's a great guy. He's a good Christian guy. No, I think you're about to embark on a cool adventure, man. No, man, don't let it be scary. There's going to be crap goes wrong all the time. I can promise you that.
I'm putting a Bible verse on the side of my counter. So if I have somebody that's like, this sucks or something, I'm just gonna be like, John 3:16.
Say what sucks going to hell. That's what sucks. No, you're going to run across all kinds of different people. I've got a Bible verse. It's my cup runneth over from Psalms.
That's a good one.
On the back of our coffee mugs. You saw my logo just a little while ago. It's basically the LF from Legacy Farms, but on the back of it, it's got the Psalms verse and my cup runneth over. I've had people in the shop. They're like, "Oh man, I like your coffee cup." And you think they're at that point where they're fixing to buy it, and when they look at the back of it, they go ahead and put it down.
Yeah.
And so, you got it. There's all kinds of people in the world.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I feel like it's kind of at a. I don't know. I feel like if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, I don't think it's like right to push stuff like your religious stuff on people. But if it's on your product and people really have that much of a problem with it, it's like, okay, well, that's my decision. And I think like somebody like In-N-Out or something having that on the back of their cup. I think it's John. I forget. I'm not going to misquote the verse if I don't know, but I know it's John. They have on the bottom of their cups, and people buy from there, right? So I'm like, feel like if you don't, it's not like I'm pushing my values on you, but I'm definitely going to show that that's like my that I'm Christian. I don't know. I feel like being a Christian company and showing the correct values of a Christian, like that's not an issue. It's good to spread awareness of like how you're supposed to be. I don't know. I think it's a good thing.
No, it definitely is. I heard some controversy the other day on social media about the In-N-Out cups, and it was somebody was making a statement about they didn't like that, and I'm like, well, then go somewhere else. I had somebody on podcast the other night ask if I recommended this one company, or they said they were buying from this one company or something, and I'm like, well, just PM me after the podcast. And my name being Ashley, I'm often confused as a girl, and when I'd communicated with this certain company, and always I'd sign the communicate. I'd always sign the email or whatever, Ashley and Julia, which are two women's names basically. And the day that was set up for me to call them, and I said, this is Ashley, you could tell there was like a pause, and they were expecting it to be a woman. And so I never did any business with them. it wasn't my doings. It's because they quit returning my messages. And once I started researching their company, then I sort of understood more about what their company stood for and things like that. And so they thought that Julie and I were both women. So it definitely but you're gonna have more positive to that than the negative. I promise you.
Yeah, and I again like don't like not throwing my values on somebody, but I like to show them so that if somebody is like, oh, well, he's acting like this and I like him because of like the way he acts, then they know that like that's what I do. I also don't think that like half of the Christians that I meet demonstrate the good values. So I feel like making it known that like, hey, this is how we really act. This is how like this is what it means, not like, oh, we're gonna push something on you. I don't know. So I think it's good to demonstrate my values. I don't think that putting it on my cups or on my counter or something is gonna be that big of a deal. I don't, and also like if my sales are going down for something like that, then that kind of shows that there's something else that like that it's really that big of a deal for somebody. Like I don't know. So I think it's a good thing.
That's the beauty about being mobile. If you're in an area and the sales go down, just go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I know like I'm in the Temecula, San Diego area, so a lot of people are very like easygoing. Also, I'm not like I don't know. I wear pretty funny clothing, not like anything that's standard. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like people won't think the same way, but at the same time, it's like they're super easygoing anyways, so it won't cause that much of an issue. But yeah.
And the majority of the people are coming there. They just want a cup of coffee, and they're going to move on with their life.
They don't want a social construct, philosophical discussion over like Christianity.
No, but if they know who we are, if they want to ask us a question, then I think we need to be we need to be an example enough that they would ask us that question. But also, at that point, if they ask us, then you can talk about it. Otherwise, I think, I've never, just that one time, I think it was any kind of an issue with that one group of people. But no, you just be you, and you're going to have plenty of customers that come and go, and maybe you'll get that chance to have a conversation with somebody, might change their life. But yeah, there's some people who make a big deal about it, and I don't know, there might be more protesting in California than Kansas. So
there's not as much as they like to put on the news.
Yeah, well, no, and that's the news. They're not going to tell the day I help a old lady across the street. They're not going to have a story about that, but they're going to have a story about somebody breaking into a store. And I see people running in the store robbing the whole shelf full of shirts or something. I don't think that's happened everywhere every day, but just the bad stuff gets more attention than the good stuff.
Yeah, it's people are very, very nice. Lately, I don't know what happened. I know Northern California, it's either you get really nice people or really rude people. Southern California, it's gotten a lot better. You just have to go to like places that are more like aesthetically pleasing, and people will be like, or like smaller businesses. Everybody at smaller businesses are very nice, and everybody there is like me. Like it's very like-minded, and they're super easygoing. So I definitely feel like it won't be an issue at all. I don't know. I like where I live right now.
Well, I'm in a good area for, quality of people, but I'm in a horrible place for like, being commercial. I've got an old garage right outside my house, and that's where we do our roasting. And so I may have 15 customers a week on a good week that come in and buy coffee. The majority of what I do is online. So people either follow you or they don't. If they have a problem with me, I never know it. They just don't follow me and they don't buy my coffee. So I don't interact a lot with customers. People come in, they generally have a lot of questions. They want to know about the stuff. So I think probably 97% of our sales are online. So and a few people beat me up on social media about kids picking coffee. I told you about that. Somebody beat up on me one time about they saw my guys loading the container and they were throwing bags on their back, and they said I should be ashamed because I didn't buy them a dolly to carry the coffee on. And so So I just went straight in the shop and I showed them picture. Here's some dollies. I said, they don't want to use a dolly. They can do it a whole lot faster by, throwing it on their back.
Plus, I don't want to
And
hear
they're
the
20
squeaky wheels.
times, yeah. And they're 20 times stronger than you are. And they know as soon as the truck is loaded, it's going to leave and we're going to go have chips and Pepsi. So
Yeah.
that's all they care about,
I mean, like even like with our farm stand here, the pumpkins, that was like, cause we grew like a acre of pumpkins, I think. And we, put them up and stuff. And my brother and I were carrying them. And some lady was like, do you need help with that? Do you need this? She's like, why not get a wheelbarrow? We're like, we have 4 right here, but no, it's fun to carry the pumpkins. Like people make it such a weird thing now. And I'm like, it's, I feel like these people would make the decision if they didn't want to. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to be a very lazy society.
Yeah. Also, like back 40 years ago, 40 years ago, it wouldn't have been like that. And I feel like, I mean, I'm a very lazy person, but I feel like when something's right, I like to do labor like that. I feel like seeing something come to like a conclusion or like making something yours, especially with the pumpkins, it was really fun. It got me into like a lot of sales. That's when I was super motivated with this whole thing. So I feel like it can lead to great things if you're, and like you guys are saying, you're giving like the option to like you're saying, like buying land and starting stuff up. So I don't feel like it's, I don't know, if they just did further research, then they'd realize.
Yeah, and most people don't. They jump to conclusions a lot of times and they want to gripe about stuff. But yeah, I've had very little. I mean, very little problems, and I've had almost no problems with the Christian side of things. I think most people that follow me probably go to church. That's why we changed the podcast to so late, is because I've got Taekwondo on Monday, and then Tuesday Eli's got MMA, and then Wednesday night I didn't have a good program at my church that I enjoyed, so I go to Taekwondo, and then they have a Bible study afterwards, and so I just will come back and do a real late podcast on Wednesday nights, because Thursday I've got Taekwondo, Saturday I've got Taekwondo, Friday night is like night with my boys, and so and I'm not going to do anything on Sunday, so Wednesday night was only night, and then a lot of my customers were like, well, I can't be on because my church didn't get out till 8:30, and so I made the podcast Wednesday night at 9:00 just for that reason. And
it was perfect for me. It's 7 right now. I'm like, yes.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Or it was 7. Yeah, it's 8:15 now, but yeah.
But like Bill, Carrie, those guys, those are good Christian guys, and so I figured I'd make the podcast when the people I wanted to be on it could be on it, or that wanted to watch it could be on it, or could watch it. So I'm going to do a couple this week from the back porch, where you can actually see the mountains behind me. Right now I'm on my back porch.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you can see any of the lights behind me or whatever, but there's 2 or 3 good sized cities that are behind me. So I'm going to try tomorrow night to play with my video camera a little bit and see if I can get it to see some of the lights back there. But I'll do a couple of them this week that show the view a little bit better.
Yeah. The beautiful background behind here is my wall and my bed. It's really crazy.
Oh, okay.
And I have a frog doing meditation over here.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a cat waiting, hoping I'll feed it something. He's been eating my bread with me.
Cinnamon roll.
I've got Eli's blind dog, Leia. No. She heard her name. She thought I had more bread for her. But I'll throw bread over there and she'll hear it land and she'll sniff it out. But she's the best dog in the world, but she had a stroke last year and she went blind. She had a stroke, went blind in one eye, and then she had a stroke, went blind in the other eye about 6 months later.
Dang, she had a rough day.
But she knows the farm, because Eli and I'll camp out as deep in the farm as we can get. We'll go in there and set up a tent and we'll camp a night or two.
That's fun.
And within an hour, she will walk out there with us. I mean, and find us. So she knows all the little trails, and She just knows to stay on the gravel, and eventually she'll find us. And then she'll sleep outside the tent all night.
Yeah, senses get honed when they have one eliminated.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she can smell the different workers. She's got a worker that Bahidio. She just does not like Bahidio. And when the guys come around the corner, she'll just sort of, you can see her put her head up in the air sniffing, and she'll sit back down. But boy, when she smells Bahidio, she is going to go bite him if she possibly can. But I don't know why, if he just has a different aroma, but she doesn't like him for some reason. He's a really nice guy. She's not going to change her opinion, I don't think. She's just like 8 years old. I guess that's 60 something in dog years, but no, she's not that old. She's probably 6. But something happened to
42.
her. She had a stroke. And is it 7? Is that what it is? 7 years to 1?
I think so. I don't even know if it's scientifically proven anymore, but I know I still go by that. I'm like, yeah, my dog's 36, or not 36, 35. Sorry.
But she's been a good dog for a long time. She's had a lot of puppies. We given them to the workers. Everybody here wants a guard dog, and she makes good guard dogs. So
yeah, we're having one of my Great Danes is having puppies. And
oh really?
Like, yeah, she's like ready to pop right now. But yeah, she's like a day or 2 left. Due, at least we think. But it's so weird. This is like the first time. So yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, we have 3. They're our farm dogs, little guard dog, Sheriff.
Well, her first litter, she had 1 puppy. And the boy we bred her with was a solid white German Shepherd. I've never seen one before, and it may not have been purebred, but because it's Honduras. But she had 1 white puppy, and I ran over it. It was sleeping behind my truck one day. So.
No.
Yeah, it was a sad day. Luckily, the boys were here on the farm, but I got back, they'd already buried it. So she just told me about it, but I sure hated that. But no, she's probably had, I bet over the last 5 years, she's probably had 30 puppies.
Dang.
But now they give her a shot every 6 months, and so she quit having puppies. So I'm not sure what the shot is, but I figured she's blind. I would feel bad if she started, having puppies.
Having to raise puppies.
Yeah. But what you sniffing of, Leia? She's got her nose up in the air about something. There's a mountain lion that comes sort of close every once in a while, but sometimes you'll hear it walking through the plants. But it doesn't bother her, and I don't guess she bothers it. So they coexist. But it's a big dude. It's a puma. That's what it is, because it's black. But it's pretty big. It's way bigger than the German Shepherd is.
Yeah. We have mountain lions. We've got a couple boa constrictors. It's actually a wildlife preserve, or a natural preserve is where the farm is. So it's illegal to hunt. So we've got, squirrels, rabbits, basic stuff. And we got a bunch of deer. Yeah. My house is on 3 acres, and we have a preserve right in front on a dirt road. So like right outside my window is a preserve, and there's no buildings or anything. It's like amazing, but it's super scary because there's like coyote packs, and then there's like mountain lions, and like we have like cats just running up, and it's kind of scary because we have the 3 Great Danes, but then we also have we used to have like 9 farm cats outside, and 8 of them died. So we have only 1 more, and it's Hiss. And Hiss, he's around, but it's like, it's scary. I'm like, I don't want my animals to die.
Yeah.
But, like you're saying, I guess they're coexisting right now.
Yeah, right now nobody's crossed paths in a bad way. We've got chickens and stuff that are free range out here. They go in every night and roost, but the mountain lion has never bothered the puma, whatever it is, has never bothered the chickens. And so I've only seen them twice, but the guys have seen them quite a bit. But they're not scared of them, I don't guess.
Yeah, we have turkeys, 4 turkeys, like 2 females and 2 males, and then we have like 8 chickens. So the turkeys usually do a pretty good job keeping the coyotes away. And then we also have a big fence, so it's not like like it's a like they're just gonna hop over or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we used to have turkeys, but we gave them when they got bigger. We gave them away all around Christmas one year. But
Feast.
I like the chickens.
Yeah.
Chickens are fun.
They have a
But,
good personality.
Yeah, Eli had a pet chicken for years. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the cross for where we dug a grave for it when it died. It was his chicken. He'd bring that thing in the house. It'd be in his bedroom. It followed him around the farm. That was a smart chicken. And then one day it died, man, and he was a sad little boy. But yeah, it's been fun being out here and just I'd never had chickens before. I got here, I was like, well, we ought to try it. So
Yeah.
you know, we've had as many as 30, 35, and well, we've had as many small ones as like 150.
Dang.
'Cause
Wow.
we used to have a project where we gave them away, and so we'd go in and buy 100, 150 chickens, and when they got a little bit bigger, you know, we'd buy like the little day-old chicks,
Hmm.
and then when they got bigger, we'd give a dozen of them to each family.
How big
And,
is the farm?
well, I don't know exactly, but it's about 55 acres.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Without doing like, you know, it's just this rolling hills, so it'd be hard to map it out unless you got a, you know, really sophisticated GPS system in here.
Yeah.
They said somebody came out one time, they wanted $3,000 to like map it. I was like, I don't care that much. But we roughly have about 85,000 coffee plants.
Dang.
And I should do the math. I don't know how much they produce, but I'm guessing it's 4 to 6 pounds of cherry coffee per plant.
Per plant thing.
Yeah. But having said that, you know, coffee grows in a cherry. It looks like a grape.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Spanish speaking countries, they call it uva, which is grape in Spanish. And so it looks like a grape, tastes like a grape, but inside of that is the coffee bean. And so for every 8.25 pounds of the coffee cherry, you end up getting 1 pound of roasted coffee. So if you had 825 pounds of this cherry, you know, picked coffee out of the farm, by the time you take the cherry off, dry it, you know, clean it, select it, you're going to end up with 1 pound of coffee.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So it's 8.25 pounds of cherry to will get you 1 pound of coffee.
And then you also have to worry about like you're saying with microclimates and climates and stuff. That's crazy. And elevation as well. That's insane. Which, I mean, it makes me appreciate like the prices a lot more, especially for like your guys's and like more local farms, or like at least ones that are like smaller scale. Cause like the store-bought stuff being so massive and then also like really old too, and they're charging just as much. It's like, how do you have the audacity to do that? Like with syrup and like the syrups and vanilla bean extract. We're making vanilla bean extract. We made like a gallon of it, and it takes a year to ferment or whatever. But it's like, it is no labor at all. You just set it in a can, you let out the CO2 once in a while, put it back on. And then the syrups, like 1 and 1.5 cups of sugar, 1 and 1/2 of water, and then like I think 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And I made 3 cups worth of syrup, and it was I think $7 in total. But for like the Torani, like the coffee stuff, it's like $25 for like a 25 ounce. So I was like, they're charging $1 per ounce. That's like, you're insane.
Yeah. I wonder how many an ounce would be. That'd be too much to put in a cup of coffee. I mean, you'd probably get a 1/4 ounce or something. I don't know. You'd have to sort of weigh it, I guess. But yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's a good selling point. You know, you make your own syrups and stuff like that. And that's the advantage of Starbucks. You know, they might use a lower grade coffee. They're not buying sub-commodity coffees or anything, but they're buying coffees that are in that 70 to 75 range points. And so, you know, they're getting a good price on it, but they do use really nice syrups. You know, they've got good quality syrups.
Yeah.
because that's what you're tasting in the coffee, and of course they're buying it by 100,000 gallons at a time, probably,
Yeah. To where $1 billion boycott doesn't do anything to them. You're like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah.
But
No, there was a book that came out about Starbucks, and I enjoyed reading it. But if you don't like the coffee, let us know, and we'll make you another one. Right there on the spot. No charge. And I like those things. And if somebody doesn't like my coffee, they got two options. I'll pick them out some coffees and send them to them, or I'll just give them their money back. And so you can't beat that, especially with us mailing you coffee. It's not like you can come drink it right in front of me. But I do have an espresso machine and stuff there in the roastery. If somebody wants to drink a coffee, I'll just normally do them a pour over or something and let them try it. It just takes a minute. But the people that buy our coffee, I give them that option. If you don't like it, I'll send you some different coffees, or I'll just send you your money back. And so far, the few people that have complained, we just send them some different coffees, and then, I try to watch and see if they reorder. Our system will tell me how many times the customer's ordered every time they get an order. So, we try to track things, but yeah, not Subway. Starbucks has a great plan of giving you another coffee.
Yeah, their business is like their business side of, well, I guess their business, they do a good job. It's just like the quality, like, I mean, besides the syrups, like the quality of the coffee, I'm pretty sure it's like, I mean, like you're saying, it's like the 75 range, but then also like the way they roast it, it's like, I think it's like 50 degrees higher than like what other roasteries or like what other roasters do. So then you end up with like the burntness, at least
Yeah.
from my limited experience with all that
Yeah.
stuff. But
And if you start cupping, boy, you'll really struggle with some of those dark roasts, because I can't stand even the dark roasts that we do. I can't stand to drink them. And ours are nowhere near as dark as Starbucks coffee is. But just, you start appreciating those different flavors that come naturally in coffee. When I was in the little quickie cupping school I went to, my instructor said the reason we roast dark is to cover up something that's worse than what you're going to taste in the dark. So you're going to get earthy, woody, smoky flavors in that dark coffee instead of the low grade coffee that it actually is.
yeah,
So it's basically the lesser of two evils as far as the flavors go, So, but I live next to a retirement home. And so I had to start carrying a dark roast because they keep asking for it. So we got two dark roasts. And so people want it, you buy it. And people started wanting pumpkin spice and those different flavored coffees. So we started buying it and started buying the flavorings and started flavoring the coffees.
how do they do that? Do they just soak them, or is it like a spray, or?
No, it's an oil.
Oh,
I buy it. I put on an ounce and a half. Roughly, it's an ounce and a half to every 5 pounds of coffee. And some of them have flash points, so you can't put it. So straight out of the roaster, I put the flavoring on the coffee, but you have to wait till it gets below 150 degrees. Otherwise, it could flash. There's some alcohols in the flavoring. So you'll order the flavoring, and it'll say the flash point's 150 degrees or 170. So when the coffee comes out of the machine, it's 400 plus degrees. So I've got a temperature gauge on my cooling tray, and so I watch that. And when it gets to about 120 degrees, then I'll scoop out 5 pounds, throw it into a bucket, dump an ounce and a half of flavoring on it, stir it up. And then, I'll just keep doing 5 pounds at a time. I get better coverage if I do it 5 pounds at a time. Now, if I'm doing big batches, I have a concrete mixer. And so I'll throw 20 to 25 pounds at a time in the concrete mixer. And then I'll put the flavoring straight into the mixer. And that works pretty good on big batches. But, around Christmas time, sometimes we're roasting 200, 300, 400 pounds of Jamaica Me Crazy or Caramel Rum Crunch or Pumpkin Spice. And so just because that's what the market demands. And I'm not going to be so snooty that I'm going to say we don't do that. If somebody wants to buy it, I'll sell it to them.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not like my least favorite one out of like any of those flavorings. I'm not like a big fan of the flavorings in general, but I like the lavender ones, but probably my least favorite would be the hazelnut or the vanilla nut ones. I'm not a fan of those. Like, I don't know if I'm buying like really bad quality ones or whatever, but it's like, oh no.
Well, I get mine from a company called Flavor Dynamics. So if you ever decide to, they're good about sending you samples. So they'll send you some like 3 to 5 1-ounce samples, and then you could flavor some coffee and try it. But yeah, if people weren't asking for it, I never would have started doing it. But I enjoy the natural flavors. Right now, I'm drinking a Perry Nama. It's a variety of coffee that we grow. I enjoy that. I just came up with another blend the other day that we're gonna get on the website this week. I kept sneaking. I bring coffee in the house for my wife to drink, and so one day she said, "Oh, I really like that coffee. What was it?" So what I've been doing for a couple of weeks is I've been doing blends and just not telling her and just giving them to her, and waiting until she bragged on one. And so she really liked it. So then that'll be our next blend that we offer. So I like doing the blends more so than the flavored coffees.
Yeah.
So there'll be one called Julia's Joe, because that's her name. Her name actually is Julia Joe. So it's going to be Julia's Joe for like a cup of Joe.
That's great.
It'll come out here in a couple of days as a roasted option. And it's 10% Lempira Peaberry, 45% Marciesa, and 45% washed Perry Nama. And so that's our little blend that we came up with. And so we'll see if people like it. People generally like trying the blends just because it's a little more unique. And then when you start your trailer and you get your business going, I'd say you ought to come up with a blend of your own.
Yeah.
Only place in the world you can get this coffee is right here.
That and like my drink. That was kind of another thing. I know my branding is gonna be like greenish. So I was like trying to come up with something green, and I was like, the best I could think is like a matcha latte, but then that's not coffee, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to come up with like something. So a blend would be a good idea, but also just like trying to make that one drink that I'm solid with, because I feel like another thing with Starbucks is they have like 500 different drinks that you can choose from, and they're all pretty good because they have like a giant commercial, or they're good because the syrups, but they're also good at like knowing how to present them, and they have so much money that it doesn't matter really. Like they'll diminish something that doesn't sell well, but all of those sell well. So it's like, and they have the space in their kitchen too. I don't have that luxury. So like,
yeah, they're at the point where they have massive research and development, But one thing you could do, one thing that works good in a latte, and I don't know the mix, is putting in a powdered coffee cherry tea. And the Coronados have been buying coffee cherry tea from me. And you grind it until it's a powder, and you'll sprinkle a certain amount of that powder, and I don't know the portions, into your portafilter when you do your espresso shot that's going to go in your latte, and that really gives it a fruit pop. So send me a PM or however we've been talking, and I'll get Eli to send you some coffee, but I'll get him to put in some coffee cherry tea. And what you'll have to do is buy a blade grinder, like a cheap grinder from Walmart.
Like a spice grinder?
Yeah, like a spice grinder.
Okay. Yeah, I have one.
They're like $25 or something. Or get one from Goodwill. And you'll just pulverize this coffee cherry tea until it's just a powder, like flour. Okay. Super, super soft consistency.
So it can go through because it's gonna Yeah. Okay.
But you do not want to put it into your high-end grinder.
Yeah.
But once you get it powdered like that, I had he was a friend, he was a customer, but he had a coffee shop at one time, and he was sprinkling in some, but he never would tell me how much. And he said the people really loved it. But coffee cherry tea is not just this super popular thing, but it's the cherry that the bean grows inside of. I ferment it and dry it, and I ship it to the States with my coffee. Um, and if you just steep it and drink it like a tea, it's like a fruity drink.
Huh.
You could serve it hot or you could serve it cold, either one. But it's a real nice drink, and it's utilizing a part of the coffee that usually gets thrown into a pit somewhere.
Yeah.
But we use the cherry in our organic compost. But I started drying it and shipping it to the States, and I sell a lot of it to people that want it's coffee related, but it doesn't taste like coffee, doesn't have near the caffeine, but it has a lot of antioxidants.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we're sending it to K-State. I keep saying I am, but I haven't done it yet, to find out exactly how much caffeine it has in it and exactly how many antioxidants it has in it. So that we can, and then we're going to start marketing it this spring. It'll be something we come out with. But I'll send you some of it. You'll just have to grind it up real fine, and you could play with it in your espresso machine.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And do you have a French press?
Yeah, I have 4.
You can put it in your French press. But if you'll put it in your French press, it doesn't need to be pressed, but it just that keeps the cherry tea from coming out into your cup. But I put in 1/3 of an ounce to 8 ounces of water, and I steep it for 5 minutes, and you pour it out, and it's sort of a reddish color, but it's really good. It's a good fruity drink, and we sell quite a bit of it. I think we sell it for $3 an ounce online. I think Julia might have it for $2.50 right now during the holidays, but normally we get $3 an ounce for it. Commercially, I could get it to you for like $1.25, because California is a little bit further out. But yeah, I'll get you some samples of it, and you can start playing with it.
Yeah.
Do you have a date that you're trying to open up, or when's going to be your first event or something like that?
Yeah, first event is so one of my grandparents, he owns the automation stuff, and he does like Amazon's machines, but then he also, my grandma, she has a quilt shop. So she's having her 5th anniversary this coming April. So April 6th is the day that she wants me to do like an event, and they're going to pay me for it. And then whatever cost it carries over on. So April 6th is what I'm planning for my first event, like probably, unless I get some like out of the blue, like crazy, just like perfectly planned. But yeah, April 6th is where I'm aiming, just because of permits and everything.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, sooner rather than later, send me an email or Instagram, however we've been talking, and get me your address and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll get you some samples to try. And you've got a pretty good grinder, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's it's pretty good. It can go through like a 3-pound bag pretty quickly. And then I changed the burr size because it wasn't really working for me. So I got a new one so that it's like finer to coarser grinds, because this one that it came with was kind of weak. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll get you some samples of some whole bean stuff, and I'll get you some of that coffee cherry tea.
Yeah,
and you can start playing with some stuff. And the tea would definitely be something different than coffee, but coffee related, that you might could give a try.
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm gonna have to go in. I've got my day starts at 4:30.
Okay. Sorry.
But no. A lot of times we go 2 or 3 hours, but no, I'm going to do a couple more this week. I'll let you know when they are. So if you ever want to hop on, but if you got any questions at all, send them to me. And like I said before, I may not have the answer, but I may have a customer that does, or so I could help you research it a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
PM me some your directions and stuff, and I'll shoot you some samples over, and you can play with them. And
cool.
And I'll try to. I think I've got all my cup and scores here with me, and I can get. If you've got any questions about a specific coffee you like or don't like, I'll send you the cupping information on it. So you'll know what it's supposed to taste like and all that stuff before you actually drink it.
Yeah.
And that helps me a lot too. I'm not super strong on the cupping notes. I can usually guess a coffee within a point, after I taste it. But I don't pick out a lot of the flavors that some people do. But no, it was great talking to you, man, and it's going to be exciting to watch you get into all this. But
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
That April's going to come quick.
Yeah.
So it'll be really quick. But no, as many people as you can talk to, that'll let you, give you some information. I sure would. And go to some events and watch some other guys with trailers and see, stuff will happen fast and you're pretty compact in there. But I've got an Isuzu NPR. It's like a small cab over truck, which means the cab is over the front tires.
Yeah.
But it's got a 14-foot by 8-foot box on the back of it. And so I've been thinking about making a coffee truck out of that. And I've got some of my plans written out for it. But it's 8 foot tall, 8 foot wide, and 14 foot long.
Dang,
and so
that's pretty good.
There'd be a lot of space.
Yeah, it's it's crazy how compact stuff is, and that's like probably one of my biggest fears. And then my grandpa just blew me out of the water with the open kitchen type stuff. That really helped, because I was like, I mean, unless I can get space like your cab or the back of or the bed, mine's like the trailers that I was looking at that I could afford were like not space, because I'm 6'1", so it was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to, like, the roofs and stuff and like space. I'm like, yeah, no. So it was really nice when it was open. I was like, okay, we can do this, and I'll just get a foldable table and put it out. But yeah.
Yeah, PM me a picture, because your background is pretty dark right now.
Yeah.
And I guess mine is too. And I put in a double light bulb right over me so I could do my podcast. Just send me some pictures. I'm interested in looking at your stuff. And when you get going, you can come on the podcast and stuff, and we'll when you get your website and stuff like that set up, then we can definitely help you with that. And I'll see if I could reach out to a few people that might want to get you on their podcast and, help you get started. But no, for that first event, you need to get every friend you can to call some TV stations, radio stations, because it's definitely going to be a novelty, a 15-year-old with a coffee trailer. And you might get a TV crew out there, and that'd be a huge blessing.
My city is their Facebook page. It's it's Temecula. It's pretty crazy, because the size of it is no joke. It's a big page. It's like 10,000 people on it, and they blow up the page. And whenever somebody goes on, and my friend posted on there about his business, and it was like within minutes, probably 6,000 responses. I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah. That's
but
crazy.
I also don't want that level of traffic until I know that I can do it. So
yeah,
I want to get the attention, but at the same time, I don't want the traffic that I'm getting. I just want people to be mindfully knowing, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. No, you don't want too much too quick. And that's what we've been doing at the roastery. The last couple of years, I've picked up some extra grinders, and they're called Wayfill machines. You put the coffee in, and every time you stick a bag under it, it'll drop in 12 ounces, 8 ounces, whatever you set it on. We've been getting those things ready, and we're going to start doing some paid marketing on January the 15th. And the company, I forget what the name of the company I've been talking to, but it's they're going to ramp it up to where they're going to start the interest in January, and then February, and then March, for us, really having the biggest interest starting in, the biggest marketing part of it will be in April. And that'll be because I don't want anything blowing up in February, because I'm here in Honduras. So they're just going to sort of start the ball rolling a little bit slower, and then do the big push in, the 1st of April. but I've got my equipment set up, and I know how many pounds of coffee I can roast a day, and I know how much I could process a day. Um, so I don't want, 10,000 orders would be devastating to us. I wouldn't be able to fill them. It'd take me a month to fill them. But we've been doing fundraisers where somebody will order 1,000 pounds of coffee and 3,000 K cups. And I can do that in about 10 days. I can roast it, pack it, and do it all in 10 days. So, we know about about what we could put out. But if I have 2 more employees, then I can cut that time in half.
Yeah.
So it's, it's just been a process of, I definitely understand not wanting too much too quick, because that would be devastating to your social media. You think they get excited about you starting, they're going to get really exciting about you not finishing, and they put in an order and they don't get it, or they show up and the line's a half a mile and they just drive off. So you definitely have to, because I feel like you're going to have some, permanent employees pretty quick.
Oh yeah. And it's like right now I'm looking at prices and stuff like for my coffee, and I'm going at 20 cents cheaper than like the Hyatt or than the Starbucks drinks and stuff. That's like that was my goal, was to get as low as possible and like organic and stuff, or as close to it as I could. And I was looking at stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's a lot. And also just trying to get measuring cups that, like for sugar and salt and all of that, like I don't need to wash them out every time. But then like with milk and stuff, I do, and syrups. So that's like one of my other things, was trying to find like stuff so it's just quick until I can like actually withstand like paying for employees or whatever. So that's why I was like, I just need to get all my friends on this that like have experience with it, because I was like, I can't do anything by myself.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to have a good support system, or otherwise it's gonna be tough. But and at first it's gonna be rough. I mean, there's gonna be lots of mess ups, and orders wrong, and things are gonna break and stuff like that. But you just keep your head calm, and it'll all work out. But there's definitely the learning curve is going to be weeks, if not months, before you get everything perfected. And it's just like in our roastery, I moved stuff around in there a couple of times till I could get everything to sort of flow, and we use a lot of roll around tables, and it's just, it takes a while to get everything flowing where, everything works out when a big order comes in. But no, it just takes time, and you'll get it all figured out.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of people out there to be willing to help you. Advice is something that's very undervalued, having somebody that's done it.
Yeah. This helped me so much, like with everything. Just 2 hours, and it was like I got like half of what I've been asking for like 2 months from people. So yeah.
Well, no, let me know, and because where to buy your bags, stuff like that. I've been through all that. And I've got a new company that we're going to start going with on the bags, but I've got to research them a little more, because I think they're made in the United States. I want to find out if they've got biodegradable bags or any options like that. But I really want to get started on some stuff that's actually made in the U.S. I think that's, with what's going on in the world right now, I think a lot of people are putting more importance on buying stuff from the U.S. And
like localizing as well in general. Like I know with you guys with like an online situation, but I feel like making it as close as possible, or at least supporting like smaller businesses, nation and like multi-nation wide, I think it's the best idea, because you have all these leading brands that are like just like Amazon that are just ruining people because they can't match like how they're doing. And they're so irrational that they'll waste $50 million to wipe out a diaper company so that they can have their own diaper company, like that type of stuff. So it's I feel like people need to wake up and realize that convenience isn't always the best, and that that convenience, is the best, but like it's not going to support you in the long term, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm the same. I get frustrated. I'm like, it's going to be 4 days. I've got Amazon Prime. I got to wait 4 days to get this. And And then they got these poor guys delivering boxes on Christmas Day, but they can deliver so much cheaper, almost half the cost that I can ship, Prime ships,
I'm a published author on Amazon, and I did 4 journals. I'm thinking of making like my own, like just basically writing about like how, like my thoughts on everything. And because it's so cheap to print everything, and if you follow like their perfect details on how they want you to print the book, it's like 6 cents for like the ink and all of that. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like just nothing compared to, oh, she's here.
Yeah, Becca's here. Hey, Becca, how you doing? Well, I'm writing a book, and so I had a half an hour scheduled today to write, but I didn't get it done. But yeah, I'm writing a book just about my last 8 years here on the farm, and so I haven't been very diligent about it. But the guy from Coffee Con, he told me that if I wanted to debut my book at Coffee Con, that I could either do it in New York or Chicago, whichever I wanted to. But he's going to help. So I don't think there's any way I can get it finished by October. But Becca had to put kids to bed, I think. But yeah, I haven't. I know that that Amazon does something like that, but and that's somebody I need to look at too. But it's basically, I've got 2 or 3 book ideas, but right now I'm just journaling. And I'm writing down. It's crazy. Things that are just like day to day to me are so interesting to people that have never experienced being on a coffee farm, or and so I'll just mention something about my day on Facebook, and then I'll have 3 or 4 people ask me, well, what do you mean? What happened? And what does this mean? And I'm like, well, the Trigadora is the thing that takes the hull off. And, there's so many people that are just really interesting in that, are really interested in that. And then when I get them out here on the farm, it's just completely different. They're just overwhelmed by, being in the middle of coffee. But so yeah, I'm writing down everything, and then I'm going to try to take it to a couple people that have written books, like Kevin Sinnott. He's written some coffee books, and so I'm going to send him, when I get a rough draft of my book, I'm going to send it to him. He's actually going to write my foreword in my book, and then I've got another guy that's going to do a part of the book. And everybody that's ever visited the farm, I'm asking them to write a short story or something about their experience, and that'll be in the book. I'm asking a couple of the roasters that we've helped, grow a little bit, for them to do a little bit and put in the book. So it's going to be very eclectic. The book is not going to be just focused on one thing, but it's basically going to be my life in coffee and how that's affected. I'm going to have some of my workers. I've been talking to Becca about doing an interview with Anna and some of the women, or anybody she wants to, that work here on the farm. And she speaks, I'm guessing, fluent Spanish, I'm going to say, and have her translate and do an interview with a couple of the workers. But I'm going to have the workers write something for the book, and how their lives have been affected by working for me here on the farm. And I've got probably 6 of the guys that actually send coffee to the U.S. So this year in my container for the 2024 crop, Pedro Santiago Melvin, a guy that I forgot his name that's right up the road, Anna, Alexander, Santos, Bahidio, all those people are going to have coffee in my container that I'll help them sell in the U.S. next year. And Juan Carlos, he's going to have some. I financed a farm for him 2 years ago, and so this is his 3rd year. So his coffee will be in production this year. We're going to send some of that to the States, and just have those guys write just a little write-up. Santos's wife, we started a store for her in her house. Bahidio's got a barbershop. Orbelina has a corn grinding business, and as well as Francie has a corn grinding business. We gave them a corn grinder, like a bigger electric corn grinder. And so I want to share some of those experiences in the book. I just think it'd be an interesting read, or I hope it will be.
Yeah,
So
definitely. If you get it out at like anytime soon, I'd love. Whoa, voice crack. I'd love to read it. That'd be cool.
all right, yeah, and I'm going to try to. I've been writing in a journal, but I'm going to start as much as I can. I'm going to start doing it straight into my computer so that I could print off some stuff and send it out. But and if you think of something that you want to know about the coffee farm, send me a question. Send it to me. Hey, good night, Becca. Thanks for jumping in. But I'm glad to answer it. But and then again, it might give me an idea of something I need to put in the book. But a lot of the things that for me are day to day, are super interesting to other people, and they don't know what all happens, in coffee. And so many people don't realize that our coffee is all hand selected. We don't have laser sorters or any kind of air gravity machines or anything like that to pull out the Quakers.
Yeah.
And so it's just all done by hand. There's 16 women in there selecting, 7 hours a day.
And I mean, even like just thinking about it, like from our little farm thing, like vegetables and stuff and like seeds and trying to calculate per square foot, like how much you should be charging for produce when it's like seed amount and you have to, like figure out how many seeds you have to really like, I don't know, just all the stuff in it. It's like people don't understand the depth of everything just to get a harvest.
Oh yeah. Well, like since this war in either Ukraine and Russia, the price of our fertilizer tripled.
Yeah.
But yet the world coffee market wasn't affected. But Honduras gets all of its fertilizer from Russia. And so now they're struggling to like find other countries that can ship us fertilizers. So for the last 2 years, our fertilizer bill has tripled, and we can't just push that on to the customer because they'll just simply buy somebody else's coffee. 'Cause, I mean, seriously, Guatemalan coffee is very similar to Honduran coffee. It's like a 10-hour drive and you're in Guatemala, so the coffees can't be that different. And they have a lot of the same varieties that we do. And that's like that Kona crap. If you look at their flavor profiles and look at my flavor profiles, you can match up some coffees for $4 a pound cheaper, buying Honduran versus buying Kona. And most people don't realize Kona is not a variety, it's a region. So Kona coffee could be 50 different varieties of coffee and still have the name Kona.
Yeah,
it's just where it's grown at, But that's a big problem too. A lot of people want to get into coffee, but they don't research it a lot, and they have ideas of what coffee is, and they really don't understand that most coffees are going to have chocolate in the cupping notes because it's sort of a chocolate-based flavored drink. So naturally occurring flavors.
It's like saying with wine. Wow, I get hints of grape. It's like
yeah,
you're drinking wine.
Yeah, but that's how we got into the coffee cherry is because Terencio makes a liquor out of it, and so it's exactly like grape. You can either have Welch's grape juice, or you can ferment it and have Zinfandel wine. It's the exact same fruit. It's just how it's processed. So we just dried it, didn't ferment it, and feed it, whatever it is you put into wine, sugar and yeast or whatever. So we just stopped it before it fermented and made alcohols, and so we have like a little fruity drink. But so it's basically the same product as wine, and Terencio makes a nasty wine out of it, but people buy it because they want to get drunk cheap. So, but no, I'll get you some of that tea, and you can give it a try and see how you like it. And it's
that'd be awesome.
It's fun to try. Well, man, I'm gonna actually go this time.
Oh yeah,
but you are not bothering me. If I don't have time to answer a question, I'll wait and I'll answer it when I have time. But I'm usually on social media a half dozen times a day. So just if you've got any kind of random question, if I don't know, I'll just say I don't know. If I think I can find out, I'll say I think I can find out. But I know a fair amount about coffee, I guess.
Oh yeah, no,
I know about the coffee business, and what can be done and what can't be done, stuff like that. But and I'll definitely help you any way I know how to market coffee. But my worst problem is not being able to grow my Instagram and my Facebook and all that. My work of marketing is my weakest point in the whole chain.
Yeah, me too.
So that's the biggest thing that we don't do well, is that. In the last year, I went from 218 followers on Instagram to like 450. So it's not blowing up anytime quick. But I think probably half the people on my Instagram have probably bought my coffee, and so statistics, that's pretty good numbers. But I still would like to have 10,000 followers or 100,000 followers or something like that, and that's what we're working towards. But the biggest thing is I can't do the projects I do if I don't sell coffee, and so we need to do some work in the children's library this week. And so that's what the coffee pays for all those things. And so, we're going to keep plugging along. But yeah, I think we have a great product. We got a great story. And so I'm hoping the book helps some with that.
Yeah. I read through like the whole website and I liked it a lot just from that.
And when my wife is here on the farm, she has a lot less day-to-day stuff to do like we do when we're in the States. And we're gonna start looking over the website and see where we think we can make some changes. And there's a few customers I'm going to ask, to really go into it and see if something could be done to make the flow easier. But we're going to, over the next 2 months, we're going to spend a lot of time, and then in March we're going to redo the website quite a bit. And we're going to go to other websites and try to get some ideas, but before the April, sort of the grand reopening or whatever that we're going to have in April, we're going to try to redo the website, because I think that could, we've had the same stuff on it for about a year, so it's time to do that. And even I've got a guy that's going to try to link in my security cameras. So during May through mid-April through mid-June, the women are in there sorting coffee all day. So I've got a video. I've got one of my security cameras that I'm gonna mount right over the sorting table, and then on the drying patio, we're gonna put 2 cameras on that, so people can actually watch the women out there raking and drying the coffee. They're gonna be able to watch people sorting the coffee, and then we're gonna have more videos of people picking the coffee and stuff like that. And we'll try to put all that to where you can see it on the website or at least YouTube or something. Excuse me. Trying to, give as much information, as much value as you can, as I can when you do take your time to come to my website. I want it to be as interesting as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But no, shoot me any questions you got. We'll help you out any way we can. And
thank you.
But people like Becca and that Carrie Sanders that you saw, definitely make sure you send them a friend request.
Yeah.
And then see if you can find Third Day Coffee. He's a pretty interesting guy. You can get a lot of ideas from him. And if I can think of some more customers I can put you in contact with, I will.
Yeah.
And we'll see. However we can help you, man, we'll do the best we can.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm jotting down the notes.
All right. Yeah. But shoot me PM me anytime, and I'll help you how I can.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, now I'm going to wrap it up, but we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good night, Lucas.
All right.
All right. This is Ashley. We're wrapping things up. Look us up on Instagram at Legacy Farms Coffee 2010, YouTube, Legacy Farms Coffee 200, and then plain old Legacy Farms Coffee on Facebook. Legacy Farms Coffee at hotmail.com. If you've got some questions you want to send to me, email is probably about the best way, or on Messenger. But you guys watching right now, thanks for your time. Had a great time talking to Lucas again. He is a 14-year-old that his granddad made him a commercial coffee trailer. And April, he's going to sort of debut his business. And so I'm really looking forward to following him. And when I find his Instagram page, I'm gonna follow it, and I hope you guys do too. Shoot me any questions you have. I think Friday night and Sunday night, I'll be doing a couple more podcasts. But any questions you guys have, shoot them to me on social media or however we normally contact each other. And I'll see you again in 2 nights. I think it'll be 7 o'clock on Friday, so maybe that'll be a little earlier for everybody. Thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.